Imagine living in a time when everything seemed perfect. People danced to jazz, and life was like a party. But then, almost overnight, it all changed. People lost their savings, had no jobs, and stood in long lines just to get bread. The happiness of the roaring 20s turned into a big struggle. It wasn't only in one place, it happened in many parts of the world. What could cause such a big shift?
There were a lot of reasons why this happened. Some big mistakes were made that led to this problem. It's important that we learn these lessons so we do not make the same mistakes in the future. We need to understand what happened to avoid these issues again. Stay with us, and we will explore all these reasons. I'm sure you'll find it as interesting as we do.
After World War I, many soldiers came back home. This was a happy time for families. At that time, women started to work more too. It was the first time for many of them to work outside the home. This was big for women. Men came back, and the economy started to grow fast. There were more jobs and more things to buy.
Yes, exactly. The 1920s had a special feeling. People were happy and danced to jazz. A man named Henry Ford made cars easy to buy. His car, the Model T, was famous. Because of him, many people could buy a car, even if they did not have much money. This made life different. It changed how people lived and how they bought things.
With more products in stores, people wanted to buy the latest things. Radios, washing machines, and more new things became common at home. People did not need to save the whole amount to buy things. They could pay small amounts over time. This was a new way of buying, using credit. Everyone wanted to have the best new stuff in their homes.
And banks helped people by giving out loans easily. This meant people could buy even if they did not have enough cash. Life was like a big party. But there was also some risk. All this fun and spending made people forget to be careful with money. Everything looked perfect outside, but inside, some problems were growing.
In the 1920s, the stock market climbed higher and higher. Everyone wanted to join in. It seemed like an easy way to get rich. So many people started investing their money. Banks made it easy by giving loans, even to people who did not have much money. This made demand for stocks go up even more. Everything seemed to be good, and many believed the good days would last forever.
Yes, it felt like there was no limit to how high stocks could go. But that was not always true. Some stocks were valued way too high. This was because of people buying stocks with borrowed money, also called buying on margin. They paid only a small part of the price, thinking they would cover the rest with the profits later. But this was a big risk. Even President Hoover felt hopeful. He thought it would all turn out well.
President Hoover's words made many feel secure. He said America was doing better than ever and believed poverty would end soon. This made people very positive. But while things looked bright, there was a problem growing underneath. Stock prices went up without a solid backing, and buying stocks with loans was a ticking time bomb. People forgot to be careful, driven by the dream of endless growth.
Indeed, everyone was caught up in the excitement. The belief that stock prices could only go up was dangerous thinking. People didn't consider what would happen if prices fell. The need to own the latest things made people take big financial risks. Soon, we'd see just how risky it was. The market was puffed up like a balloon, and it was not long before it would pop.
So, let's talk about the big crash that everyone fears. It starts on a day called Black Thursday. Many people tried to sell their stocks on that day. Imagine 12.9 million shares being sold. It was chaos. People didn't know what to do, and the market fell fast. This was just the beginning of the Great Depression, and soon everyone would feel the impact.
And the panic continued into the next week with another terrible day called Black Tuesday. On this day, a record 16.4 million shares were sold, and prices dropped even more. Many people lost their savings because they bought stocks with borrowed money. This was hard for everyone, but it's important to note that the crash itself wasn't the only reason for the depression. It was more like a trigger.
Exactly. While the crash started the downfall, there were many other problems waiting to explode. People did not trust banks anymore because their money was gone as banks closed. It was more than just shares losing value. It was about financial security disappearing. Such chaos made people worry about their future. causing a lot of fear and uncertainty everywhere.
Right. Fear took over, and it made people act in haste. They wanted to pull out whatever money they had left, which led to more panic. It's a clear example of how emotions can drive economic actions. When everyone acts in fear, the situation can get worse. It shows us how important it is to stay calm and make careful decisions, especially during tough times.
After the stock market crash, banks were in big trouble. They gave out many loans that couldn't be paid back. Do you know what speculation is? It's like when banks guessed they would get back the money they lent, but it didn't happen. Many banks thought they could make a lot of money this way. But when things went bad, they lost a lot of money, and so did their clients.
I can imagine the worry. And there wasn't any deposit insurance back then. This means if a bank failed, people lost all their money. That fear made people rush to the banks to get their money out. These rushes are called bank runs. It was so bad that even healthy banks had problems because they couldn't give everyone their savings at once.
All this panic led to many banks closing their doors for good. Without banks, the whole economy was affected. People didn't trust banks anymore, and they hid their money at home. Imagine the fear spreading from one person to another. Nobody knew if their money was safe or if they should take it out fast. Such a hard time for everyone.
Absolutely. And the bank failures just made that fear grow stronger. With banks closing, people couldn't get loans, and businesses struggled. It was like a domino effect. When banks are not giving money and people are too scared to spend, everything slows down. This is how the banking crisis made everything worse, and it was a big part of the Great Depression.
After the panic in the banks, something else started to happen. The amount of money that people could use started going down. This is called a money supply decrease. It was a big problem. Fewer people wanted to spend. When people stopped spending, businesses had no money to stay open. It was hard for everyone. But the Federal Reserve, the group that helps keep money stable, didn't do enough. They watched, but did not act enough to make things better.
It was really tough. And then President Hoover's actions made things worse. He thought adding tariffs on goods from other countries would help, but it didn't. It was a mistake. These tariffs meant things from other countries cost more money. So, other places also started stopping the sale of American things. This drop in trade hurt economies all over. This mistake added more problems to the growing list, making life very tough at the time.
Deflation also started. This is when money becomes more valuable and prices go down. But it's not as good as it sounds. When this happens, people don't want to buy things because they think prices will be even lower in the future. Businesses then earn less, and they sometimes have to close. Plus, people who owe money find it harder to pay back loans. It was like the economy was stuck, and people were scared to spend money.
Exactly. When people are scared and don't spend, it causes more harm. More businesses close and people lose jobs. Without jobs, no one can buy anything. It was a cycle that kept getting worse. It is important to learn from this past mistake. Our actions today can affect everyone tomorrow. The lessons from this can help us avoid making the same mistakes again. Nobody wants to see these hard times come back.
Next, we have President FDR and his New Deal. This plan was for helping people and the economy. It was full of new ideas, like helping banks and making sure people's money was safe. He wanted to make jobs and give people hope during these hard times. One big change was making deposit insurance. This means people wouldn't lose all their money if a bank closed, making banks safer.
FDR knew it was important to bring back hope. These changes didn't help everything right away, but they were a start. The economy began to slowly get better, but it took time. Then, World War II started, and that helped much more. With the war, many people had jobs again, and more money was moving around. This helped the economy to recover quicker.
We learned a lot from the Great Depression. One lesson is that greed can lead to big problems. We also learned about keeping an eye on banks so they do not take big risks. Another lesson is international trade. Problems can rise when countries do not work together. World War II showed us that sometimes big changes can help an economy heal, but we also need to be careful.
These lessons helped make new rules that protect people today. Even now, we think about those times and try not to make the same mistakes. By understanding what happened, we can better prepare for the future. It is like learning from history so we don't repeat it. These stories teach us why it is important to watch over our economy carefully.
We have talked about a lot today. We saw how greed can make things go wrong. It can lead to big problems like the Great Depression. It all started with people thinking they could get rich fast. This is why we need to step in and stop things before they get worse. It is important to learn from the past and make better choices in the future.
Yes, thinking about history is key. It helps us learn and make better choices. We must use these lessons to guide our decisions today. We hope you learned something new today. If you liked this episode, please hit the like button. And if you want more shows like this, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot to us.